Boo, boo, boo. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Wednesday Wisdom. I'm Nancy Nance.
I'm Kitty Foss. Welcome, everyone.
Storytelling astrologist. I like to highlight that because that's such an important part of Wednesday Wisdom, right? And today we're talking about something every human being experiences, whether we're ready for it or not. Time marches on.
And how we approach the concept of time is changing. And it's kind of our anchor as we awaken to signal to us this idea of time marches on. Then what am I doing with it? Because it's our constraint, and it truly is an external constraint. And where's the balance between giving myself the time and moving myself forward?
Yeah, well, one of the greatest challenges of modern life is learning how
Mm-hmm.
to remain present while everything around us continues changing. Careers evolve, relationships shift, families grow, identities transform, dreams change, people heal, people grieve.
Cultures change their rules constantly.
Ugh, so true.
So, which is why, and it's, this is just my astrological opinion, it is necessary for the speed at which now we are evolving. It's, a couple weeks ago we did understanding newness.
Yeah.
Part of that is, what is time to us?
Hmm.
What is our definition of where we want to be, or is it anything having to do with where we want to be? I've recently been doing a lot of looking at how my mind plays through things in time when something approaches, um, and and looking at how do I change that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and somehow life keeps moving forward.
Yes, with or without me.
Yeah, it really does. It really
Mhm.
does. And astrologically, we're in a very powerful season now when many people are feeling those shifts
Mhm.
intensely, like questions around purpose, identity, direction, relationships, healing.
What is, we have the Taurus. What is important to us? What do we cherish? What do we honor? I'm trying to avoid those transactional words like value, appreciate, because they are transactional. And yet it is a transaction, but it's understanding that it's a transaction internally. What have we bargained away in time, feeling that pressure? And then Gemini, this experiential energy that so many things are moving through, including the planet of chaos and awakening, is looking at what is the experience. Do you dance with the chaos? Do you become frozen? How do you approach in this time to march on. What are, if the kingdom is within, do you really go within, or do you continually look outside of you, including time? Well, I don't have time for that. I don't have, you know, how many times how many times there's the word time. Time is
Yes.
such a concept for us. It
Yeah,
really,
well, people are feeling called to grow while also feeling exhausted by how quickly time seems to move.
right. And in this week, we have, which is lovely, uh, within this 3 to 4 day period from starting Sunday until, is it today? I'm going to double check. Um, every single planet, and I mean every single planet, has changed their sign. While the moon herself is in Cancer, which is the most powerful placement of the moon. It's today that the sun enters Gemini. So starting Sunday, Mercury moved to Gemini. Um, all the daily planets, Mars, Venus, the moon changed sign, and now the sun will.
Oh
So
my
all those
God.
daily energies switched. And interestingly enough, aspect wise, the only energy of including all of our larger themes and Saturn, one of our bridge planets, have all had big conversations with all of these changing energies, and which some will be around longer. And the one that isn't having any conversations is Jupiter, except till today, when the moon moves to into Leo, the placement of ourselves, my moon. Um, that's the first time Jupiter steps forward, and Jupiter, who's at her ending degrees of our Cancer placement,
Mhm.
Jupiter in Cancer, getting ready to move into Gemini, I mean, into Leo as well. And that's on the 30th of June. Yes, it moves in the 30th of June. So she's in her last of her 18 months of this nurturing, of this wanting us to nurture truth, nurture expansion. And then she moves into what does that look like for ourselves? A lot of fire going to be around for the next, Saturn will move. So for at least intensely for the next 8 months. And
Wow.
this next 8 weeks is very much things have begun, but now we start to see the physical and the thought piece of it, the energy around it, because we have all of these placements that will be in fire and air.
Holy smokes.
And we,
And honestly, I think many people are quietly trying to catch up to life all the time, trying to catch up emotionally, financially,
Mhm.
spiritually, professionally. Wow, right? Like and that pressure can become exhausting.
Yes, it is. And when we have these periods of great shift, it is to bring forward, and right now it happens to be daily over these few days of, and I've heard that from a lot of people over the last few days, like, what is on? We had the largest geomagnetic storm we've had since like 2003 yesterday, something like that. So,
Wow.
um, uh, unbelievable. Um,
Well, because life is constantly changing.
mhm,
And humans naturally crave certainty.
right. And time marches on. We have signed up for a system that doesn't have certainty.
Well, right? Astrology reminds us that life has seasons,
Hmm.
cycles,
Yep.
periods
And
of growth.
and with Pluto retrograding, it is asking us to look at the concept of what are our visions. And I think that that's what you're saying when you say so many people are like, well, what do I need to be? It's
Mm.
asking us internally to transform, put our actions to work, and what truly look at what our visions are. it's it's showing us things constantly
Mhm.
that we've bet on before, that we thought were constants, that are no longer, they're just not constants. We were mistaken.
Yep, yep. Well, and that's it. And if we identify one area, one thing that we want to change, one, just for today,
Hmm.
one. Is it that you want to change your pants? Like literally change your pants.
Yeah.
I'm tired of wearing this style for so many years. And then really digging into, well, who said you had to?
Right.
Right? Yeah.
Right. So um it's such a, I hear like a guy's talking, incredibly, marvelously, chaotically opportunity to dance,
Oh
to
my God. Right? And oh, it's so true. It's so true. And it's this, okay, I'm feeling really calm. And then all
Mhm,
of a sudden it's this whoop, right?
mhm.
Like it's the epitome of those dance reels that you see where they're trying to teach dance steps. And you're like, okay, I got that, right? Like shuffle to the right. And then you're like, what? Rewind. Shuffle to the right, 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 right. And then you're like, what was I thinking?
Well, I'm one of my particularly favorite, I haven't seen them in a while, couples that used to, of course, my Facebook algorithm has changed because my Facebook has kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
Um, is the couple that sees like a trend,
Mm,
in dance, and then they try to do it.
yes.
They're older and less graceful, and they fall over and they're laughing because they know it's just not the way they can do it, but they try.
No.
Right,
Well, and that's it too. Like you look at cycles, periods of growth, periods of release, periods of rebuilding.
right.
Nature doesn't bloom all year long.
No, and one of the things I know for me, even last night, is I have a cycle that I'm looking at where I get stuck in the, what's the right thing to do here? There should be something else. Just that feeling of make some kind of decision. Feeling that time, like when something hasn't gone right in the day, it's some trying to tell me something.
Yep.
All of that additional pressure. Um, does that serve me to
Yeah.
march on? You
Well,
know.
it's so interesting. This morning I was sitting on the couch and Ralph was like, you got something on your lip, right? So I touch it, right? And I'm like, yep, it's fucking sweat, right? Like I'm having a hot flash. And it's like all those years of repressed bitch, right?
Mhm.
It's like I'm going to have a
How
shower.
repressed was it?
I'm going to go have a shower, right? And I'm like, my thyroid, we know that's being worked on. My guts, I'm going to get my hormones tested next. Like my doctor's like, well, I don't think you need to go see a gastro. They're not going to accept you. And I'm going back and being like, you know what? Put me on the list. Because
No.
something isn't right. Like since January, if not December. Right? I didn't pinpoint the day any more than I did when I became sober. I didn't mark it on the fucking calendar.
Mhm.
Yeah. And this really connects to the nervous system too, because modern life keeps many people stuck in constant activation. Like you said, always planning, always reacting, always preparing for the next thing.
Well, and what we're being asked to look at with our Neptune in Aries and Saturn in Aries is the structures we created for the responsibility we take.
Oh
And
my God. Kitty, that is so like amazing. I mean, here I am in Canada and you're in America. Responsibility for structures.
mhm,
Holy shit. We got the White House and then I don't even know what ours is called, the Parliament building. It's like these are the structures that we've created. Do they still serve?
right. And the same, and you take it from, that's the macro down to the
Yes.
micro. The structures I've created do they still serve? This need to get into my head and try to solve and figure out what I'm the opposite in the responsibility is to step back
Yep.
and let it get figured out versus me trying to think it into existence.
Well, when people live like that long enough, they stop experiencing the present moment fully. Like they're physically somewhere, but mentally somewhere else entirely.
Well, and this is a huge and just like you said, you get caught in that loop and it still stops you. You're so caught in the loop that time marches on and I have to figure this all out versus, huh, what is serving me in this moment? Breaking that ability to stop and walk out of the paradigm of time and say,
Mhm.
you know, I mean, we develop these patterns not because always of out external things they add to it, but it's our internal mechanism that made it a pattern and connected it. And it's because we're bombarded constantly with some kind of stimuli.
Oh,
So,
for sure. When the nervous systems gets overloaded, people often lose connection with themselves, that grounding, that presence, that ability to simply be where they are.
well, dopamine, serotonin, and cortisol,
Yes.
the
Oh
big
my gosh.
the big three. Which habits do you have activating?
Oh my gosh. You know what? Same with me. I put my elbow down. I'm like, fuck, that hurts. And I've got a brace for my arm.
Hmm.
It's in my drawer. It's coming out today. And the immediate thought was, well, what if someone thinks that I'm broken?
Oh, how interesting is that? Which means, what if I think I'm broken?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. The micro and the macrocosm. What if I think?
And
Yeah.
I do because I'm asking about somebody else. And I'm just looking for the mirror of them and me.
Well, and you know what? With me and my life, my mom was paralyzed on her right side. So for me, that right arm, that goes deep.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How old was she when she was paralyzed on her?
37 and I was 10.
So it
Like
was it
10s.
was definitely an event that's very possible you over apply to other things.
Oh, most definitely. I used to practice using one arm all the time.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest lessons life teaches us over time is that some of the most meaningful moments are not massive milestones, they're quiet moments.
Right.
A conversation, a deep breath, a moment of laughter, morning coffee, sitting with someone you love, watching the sky change.
Accepting that I can look at a pattern without applying it to everything I do.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
those moments matter.
they
But
do. They very much
people
matter.
often miss them because they're so focused on rushing toward the next thing.
And some of us, oh, which is what I'm really looking at, is over apply. Well, let me figure this out. Let me figure it out. No, no. Sometimes it's just the gift of time, letting it march on that
Well, yeah.
allows you to break
Yeah.
things, you
Well,
know.
and then years pass, and suddenly people realize those ordinary moments were actually the sacred ones all along.
Hmm.
The little things become the big things later.
Hmm.
Time
And
also changes identity,
it does. But
right? Like people
physically,
outgrow
emotionally,
versions.
spiritually,
Yeah, you outgrow versions of yourselves. Careers shift, relationships evolve, beliefs transform, dreams
and right
change.
now we're in a societal change where we're exposing, we are literally nurturing the exposing of truths. And since
Wow.
we don't know, quote unquote, what the truths are, that's why we're curious now. And now we're going to move into a time where it's about the truths of self, it's about the responsibility of self, it's about the structures of self. It's going to be about the transformation of that visional understanding. We're letting go of some of the very things we've been taught. One of my favorite ones I learned recently. You ready?
Mhm.
If you use your hand and you talk about air, fire, water, earth, all right, whatever these fingers are. Do you know what this finger is? It's ethos, it's spirit.
It's spirit, ethos. You're right.
So
You're
that's
right.
why we made this. That's why it was literally a campaign when you go like this to
Oh
and
my
it
God.
and to make it be something that, oh, you're telling somebody and you're being
Oh, I
judgmental.
know. It's this great big huge thing, right? And when we work on those versions of ourselves, right? And honestly, sometimes growth feels like grief because we're not only grieving people, sometimes we grieve old versions of ourselves too.
Right. That we understood and we're comfortable with.
Hmm. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with being comfortable. As a matter of fact, if you can joke about it, I we talk about the My Stroke Insight by Jill Bolte Taylor, but her second book is called Whole Brain Learning. And she
Mm,
talked about the 4 characters that we all own. And in our brain, that 2 are in this more the survival, 2 and 1 is directly, that's the one when she had her stroke, that she was living from the spiritual one in the
mhm,
brain. The other ones were the ones that were affected. And one of the things that never came back online for her in her memories was the emotion, the more physical memory of how she felt about an incident, which is really interesting to think about. So when she talks about finishing her graduate work and graduating, she cannot bring up the feeling of being proud or accomplished. That's gone. That was part of what left in her stroke. So it allowed her to look at changing her patterns. And that's why she talks about, and you need all of those characters. So,
wow.
um, I have Kitty Lee, who is the one who's always like, "Come on, there's a problem," and I can say to her now, "Why don't you come and we'll sit together and we'll figure this out," versus
Mhm,
trying to say, "Don't think about it, don't think about it." And
mhm,
um, it's just so interesting that when we look at time, like you
mhm.
said, and we've lived in these activated states, we don't remember. We've kind of suppressed even the memory of it other than the fear. And all of these other things, we lost the wonder, we lost the connection, we lost they didn't lose, but we didn't put it in the pattern. And now we have this amazing opportunity as we look at this fiery placement with all of the ways we think to
Mm.
create something brand new.
Well, astrologically, transformation often requires releasing old identities before new ones emerge.
Right. And because you have to, it's the awakening. I cannot Um, any 12-step program will tell you, you cannot fix what you do not acknowledge and know about,
Yeah, yeah, and humans naturally resist that because change can feel uncomfortable.
which is why step 1 is I am powerless. My life had become unmanageable. And I love the next step, came, and I always break it down to came to believe. Like, first I gotta just show my butt up.
Yes,
Like,
yes, that's it. I'm just here. I'm
I
here for
just
the cookies,
and
right?
then I came to as in, "Oh, wait a minute, there's something going on with me that's connected. We have a commonality here." And
Well,
then
yeah,
I
becoming is
come
part of being alive.
right, and then I come to believe, "Oh, I have an ability here. I can deal with this." You know, that something greater than myself in my but what I'd probably add to it now that I understand is in my limited version of myself, came to believe something greater than myself restores me to a sanity, to the ability to deal with time marching on, to the ability to deal. And if I understand that my higher power is in me, not coming outside of me,
Yeah.
that gateway, that spark, what we search for a way to explain that, whether it's like a spark of the divine source,
Mhm.
whether it's our human conceptualness wants to understand that. But again, even that is you know
Well,
a
and one thing I continue to notice in both healing and leadership conversations is how much pressure people feel to constantly keep up, to do more, heal faster, figure life out quicker.
mhm. Right.
Yeah.
Because time marches on. Does it? Or is
Well,
every version of you exist right now anyway?
well, maybe the deeper invitation is not to outrun time. Maybe it's to become more present within.
Right.
Yeah.
And
To actually experience your life while you're living it.
allow your evolutionary energy to embrace or not use it as a measurement. Again, outside of ourselves,
Mhm.
you know. I mean, I think probably one of the most beautiful words in the world is namaste. The soul light in me greets the soul light in you. It's not about time. It's not about our space. It's not about a ranking. It's not about a judging. It's just, I acknowledge we have the same source.
Well,
What
and
I,
that's where grounding becomes so important. Like if you just say namaste and breathe, stillness, connection, nature, presence.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
those things help regulate the nervous system and reconnect people back to themselves again because people cannot hear their own inner wisdom when they're drowning in constant noise.
yeah, I actually really enjoy it so much. I'm going to show you. Right
Yes, I've got the same sign.
there
I've
is
got the exact same sign over top of my door. Over
namaste.
there.
And sometimes for me, I remember that when I'm feeling this, I wish I thought of this last night, just to think about the word namaste. I did think about the fact that last night was one of those nights. And I actually signed up for an app that has a conversation. But last night was one of those nights where at the end of the day, was this person upset with me? Was this going on? What should I be doing? And I had gone so far into my head
Mhm.
that my body was like, I tired. Like,
Right? And honestly, sometimes healing begins with something incredibly simple, a pause, a breath, a quiet moment, one grounded moment in time, like
cup of
one
tea.
nap, one nap.
Yeah, a nap, cup of tea, color a page,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so maybe today's invitation is simple. Slow down enough to notice your life while it's happening. Notice the people you love.
and let time march on. Be where
Yeah.
you are in the moment.
Yeah. But yeah, in the moment you notice your breath, the beauty hidden inside the ordinary moments, because
Mhm.
time marches on.
Time marches on.
Yeah.
And how I look at that marching is the embrace of that. Uh, I it's interesting because sometimes I will think about an event. This is just pretty recent, and I'll try to put myself in the event as I was at the time,
Mm.
remembering the emotion, and now I'll go visit that.
Yes, 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 yes. That's where when you get into that astral dreaming,
Hmm.
it's a beautiful way for connection. When you're dreaming and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, choose your adventure. This is not the one. And you're really actively working with all of those energies. It
Hmm.
takes a lot of time and practice to get there. And sometimes I'm good at it and sometimes I'm not.
Well, like both you and I had dreams last night that had just distress in them.
Awful. Awful. My friend committed no, she was murdered with the top of a can, like the cutty part, the round part. What the fuck is that?
Well, and that's exactly sometimes what our dreams are. What the fuck was that?
Yeah, like legit. And then I got up and I messaged her on Messenger and text message. I'm like, "Hey, I dream about you. Call me." Right? Um, and we need to work on the continuation of that heal, rise, reconnect, choose joy, right? Like it's this wave, right? And then all of a sudden, like you said, a geostorm comes along.
Geomagnetic storm comes along and it launches us with time into a march.
Yep. And it's not the well, maybe it is. Okay, so spirit, I was gonna say it's not the, and then spirit showed me that boom chakalaka laka boom chakalaka laka boom chakalaka laka boom. I can't remember what movie that is.
No, you know movies better than I
Yeah,
do.
I'm a better movie person, but it's like an 80s, 70s, 80s movie. And that's what we need. We need to have that, left, 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 right, left, but then turn it into a bit of a boom chakalaka laka boom chakalaka laka boom chakalaka laka boom. Right? If anybody knows what movie that is, please let us know.
Well, it's like that there was a young man who was a drum major, and even though he would lead with the thing, he always had a dance move in between it, you know.
Right? Oh,
Mhm.
so much fun. So much fun. And I think that's the beauty of this next phase is the ability to see into the future what it is that we are going to possibly experience while leaving a lot of room for the
Well,
waterfalls along the way.
that's very true right now because as we move into Gemini, Gemini is about communication, but it's about experience. It's about the continuum, the ability to ride from the middle and see what the experience is. What moves us forward in the next few weeks is how do I react and how do I use my voice in these? It's not perfection, it's just the journey. Time marches
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, I've been working relatively well with that. Yesterday, I had a come to Jesus moment with the guy that I'm working with, and he's like, "This isn't working." And I'm like, "I agree." And so we agreed to put an ad in Indeed for the position that I have, and I said, "I'd like to talk about changing the advertisement. First off, I think the title needs to be changed." He's like, "Nope." All right, so how about this? Like I got 3 tidbits adjusted from like the 20 request. And then I'm like, you know what? This is not my boat. And then
Mhm.
I was thinking about interview questions this morning in the shower, like questions like, how do you deal with criticism? Because this prick's gonna criticize you all the time, right? Without saying that part.
Yeah.
How do you deal with someone who is eternally pessimistic? Because that's him. Right? And I remember when I came to this job that I'm in now, how depressed I was. It was a real shitty time in my life. So that's why I entered that chapter, you know,
Mhm.
to get back to more of this.
Right. Because we're we are, and there is just as much we learn from sometimes the refacing of something because
Mhm.
it's a cycle, but it doesn't. You don't have to be caught in it. You just have to be aware of it, and that's how you break it.
Well, and it's the refacing. Like, so if you've got something going on with your literal face,
Mhm.
there's things that you can do to adjust it, right? Like I remember when I got Botox for migraines. And I was trying to do that wrinkly thing, right? Where I'm like trying to frown and I'm like, it's not working. And I burst out laughing. And then all of a sudden, that's why I didn't smile. Rush to the doctor's office. He's like, it's going to be like that for 4 to 6. And I'm thinking weeks. And he's like, months. And had it not been for that, I wouldn't have met Ralph
Mhm.
because I waited 4 to 6, you know, to date again.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is very fun. Well, as usual, this is lovely.
Until next time.
Namaste.
Namaste.